And we are going to be working on lesson 63, which is a review of circles. But then we are going to talk about how we can write the equation of a circle in general form by completing the square. So let's do some review here. I've graphed a circle that you can see here. My center is h comma k, but in this case x is 2, y is 4, so I would say my center is 2, 4. My radius is, in this case, 3. So in standard form, and I'll write it here, standard form would be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals our radius squared. So if we use the information I have based on this graph, my equation would be x minus 2 squared, because h is positive, so I would plug a positive h here, plus y minus 4 squared equals my radius of 3 squared. Now you can leave it in that form, or you can just write 9. It's really up to you and how you'd prefer. Now, if I wanted to put this into general form, okay, that is where you have everything on the same side. I think in the book it's like ax squared plus ay squared. I don't remember the technical term. It just means everything is distributed and simplified. So general form would mean that I would then take x minus 2 times x minus 2 plus y minus 4 times y minus 4 equals 9. And I would get everything on the same side. So I'm going to go ahead and write this equation in standard form. So that would give me x squared minus 4x plus 4 plus y squared minus 8y plus 16. And then I would subtract 9 to equal 0. So I'm going to write my terms in order. So x squared plus y squared minus 4x minus 8y, and then 4 plus 16 minus 9 is 11 equals 0. And so that is how it would be written in general form. Now, this section covers completing the square, because to go from general form to standard form, I have to complete the square. So the book is going to ask you to do two things. You're going to have to complete the square, write it in standard form, and graph. And so I'm going to do 3 with you, and we're going to do that very thing. So the directions for all of these, the directions are to write in standard form, and graph. Now, why do we want to even write it in standard form? Because in general form, looking at it, I have no idea where my center and my radius are. But when it's written in standard form, I know that my radius is the last number, r, and my center is formed by h and k. So that's why we're putting it into standard form. So let's start with number 1. X squared plus y squared minus 6x plus 8y plus 21 equals 0. So the first thing I like to do is you want to organize your information so that your x terms are together and your y terms are together. So let's rewrite this. So x squared minus 6x, and I'm going to leave a spot because we're going to end up completing the square. Okay, and then I'm going to organize my y terms, y squared plus 8y, and I'm going to leave a space. And then I'm going to subtract 21. So I'm going to rewrite it. Notice I grouped my x terms, I grouped my y terms, and I moved the 21. And now we're going to complete the square for both. So negative 6 divided by 2 squared gives me 9, so I'm adding 9 here. And if I add 9 on the left of the equal sign, I have to add 9 to the right, because the equal sign means that I am treating each side equally. Then I'm going to complete the square here. So the b term divided by 2 squared. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 squared is 16. If I add 16 here, I have to add 16 here. Then I'm going to factor. So that gives me x minus 3 squared, right? Negative, or positive 9 and a negative 6 would be negative 3, negative 3. Plus y plus 4 squared, right? If I have 16 and a positive 8, my factors are 4 and 4. Equals negative 21 plus 9 plus 16 gave me 4. So now that it's written in standard form, I can find my center and my radius. So my center, if this is x minus 3, then my x value is positive 3. If this is y plus 4, my x value is negative 4. My radius is 2 because 4 represents r squared, so I have to take the square root. So using this information, we're going to graph. So I'm going to, and I would use grid paper. You can print grid paper or you can buy it at the dollar store. It's up to you. And I drew this off-centered. Sorry. I'm going to center that a little bit better. My x value is positive, but my y value is negative, and so I'm going to leave room for that. Right? Write at least one number on each axis, please. So here's x, here's y. So my center is at 3, down 4. So there's my center. A radius is 2, so go up 2, to the right 2, down 2, to the left. Each time you're going from the center out. So in each direction I went 2 units. And then when you draw it, draw as wide of lines as you can. And so the answer is you completing the square and graphing. All right, so let's do 2 more like that, and then you will be done with this video. So maybe you already understand it. I am going to do some where the numbers aren't perfect, where you have decimals. So you can try and work it out yourself and see if you get the same answers. So here's the next one, x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 6y plus 6 equals 0. So again, first thing we're going to do is we're going to rewrite this. So let's group our x's, x squared plus 4x, leave a space. You can put parentheses if you want, plus y squared minus 6y, leave a space because we're going to complete the square, and then I'm going to subtract the 6. Okay, because it doesn't belong to anyone. All right, now we're going to complete the square. So 4 over 2, it's the middle term divided by 2, which is 2. 2 squared is 4. So this equals 4, so I'm adding 4 here and here. Next, I have a negative 6 divided by 2. That's negative 3. Negative 3 squared is a positive 9, right? Any number squared is positive, so I'm adding 9 here. Then I'm going to factor. So that gives me x plus 2 squared, right? A 4 and a 4, my factors are 2. Plus y minus 3 squared, because I have a positive 9 and a negative 6, so that would be negative 3, negative 3. This gives me 7. So when I go to graph this, let's identify our center and our radius. Right, our center is negative 2 and positive 3, opposite of what is in here. My radius should be the square root of 7, which I got is 2.6. So we're going to use this information to graph. So I've got, this time, my graph is in quadrant 2. So negative 2, negative 4, 4, 8. So my center is at -2, 3. And from my center, I'm going to go 1, 2.6. So a little past 0.5. Back to the center, 2.6, 2.6, 2.6. And then when you draw it, you want wide arcs. And that completes that problem. All right, so the last one, we're going to do one that is more complicated, a lot more complicated, and has a coefficient other than 1. And that is really important for me to go over, so hopefully you stuck around or at least are looking at my notes. So for this next one, I have 2x squared plus 2y squared minus x plus y minus 3 equals 0. Now, in order for us to complete the square, I need x squared and y squared to have a coefficient of 1. Now, in both cases, mine has a coefficient of 2. So the first thing I need to do is get rid of that 2. So I'm going to do that by dividing everything by 2. And we're going to get some weird fractions, and that's okay. But we are going to divide by 2 to start off. So that leaves me with x squared plus y squared minus 1/2 x plus 1/2 y minus 3 over 2 equals 0. So now we'll go back to our same steps as earlier. I'm going to rewrite this. So I'm going to group my terms, x squared minus 1/2 x, leave a space, right, because we're going to complete the square, plus y squared plus 1/2 y, complete the square, equals 3 over 2. And don't worry about the fractions. I guarantee if there's fractions in it, they're probably going to go away. So let's complete the square. So I'm going to put 0.5 divided by 2 squared. I actually should put 1/2. It's much better to keep this. No, I'll leave. Okay. So that gives me 1/4. 1/4 squared is 1/16. So this is positive 1/16. So I'd have to add 1/16 here. Which means I'm going to get the same here because it's another 1/2. So it's right. I have the same number in both of these as a 1/2. So I would have to add another 1/16. So now I'm going to factor. Now if I have 1/16 and a negative 1/2, then it would be negative 1/4 and negative 1/4. Because if I multiplied them, I'd get a positive 1/16. And if I added them, I'd get a negative 1/2. So my factors are x minus 1/4 squared plus, these factors are going to be almost identical but positive, right? So this would be x plus 1/4 squared equals, you'd have to make this into 16, so you'd have to multiply by 8, so 24 over 16 plus 1/16 plus another, you'd get 26 over 16. All right, so my center is at 1/4 and negative 1/4, or 0.25 and negative 0.25. And my radius is the square root of 26 divided by 16, which gave me approximately 1.27. So we just make it into a decimal, makes it the easiest, and then I'm going to graph. Now, because my numbers are so small, I'm going to change my scale to reflect that. So I'm going to make 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and negative 1. So that way 0.5 is one box. All right, so for my Center is positive. If this is 1/2, then this is 1/4. Positive 1/4 and down negative 0.25. You could have made your scale even bigger, totally up to you. And I'm going to go 1.27. So 1 unit would be 2 boxes. So 1, 2, and then go 1/4. So it's about 2.5 boxes. So 2.5 this way, 2.5 this way. So do a scale that you understand and can graph from. And then try to draw closest to the perfect circle as you can. So for homework, that completes this section. For homework 63, go ahead and skip numbers 6. Whoops, let me go in order. I wrote it down on my notes out of order. So sorry, 4, 6, 7, 11, 18, 19, and 24. And that completes this video.